Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Monday morning. Well, I am about to go hunting. Just pull up to my hunt spot. A place I found last year's had a really good scrape on top of a ridge in here. There was some oaks in here, and I thought last year may be a good place to bow hunt. I hadn't been in here to scout it yet to see if there's any acres or anything, but I'm just gonna go to where the biggest scrape was at, and we're just gonna get in the tree and just kind of keep our fingers crossed. We'll be able to see really good from up here, so maybe, if nothing else, maybe it'll just be a good observation. See if we can see a deer. If there are acres in here, if they're feeding in here. And when we climb down, we might be able to do a little bit of walking and see if we can scout the area before we leave. But anyway, we'll get all this stuff together. We'll go see if we get in a tree. He's mad as I want it. He don't like me being in his tree very much this morning. In typical first time of the year sit fashion, made a few mistakes this morning. My rangefinder is sitting on top of my grill, my porch, from where I was shooting yesterday evening. You can see I've got on my orange hat because I didn't bring another hat. This is the only one I've got with me anyway. And I also got in the wrong tree. The tree that I had marked to climb is about 10 yards that way. That's all right. I can see really good down the top of this ridge in both directions. And there were scrapes down through here last year. Now, from what I'm seeing, I think there's either been something feeding or a fresh scrape right there under that limb. There was a scrape there last year, so it looks like they've got a scrape started. Let me show y'all. You see right here under this limb, right there. Pretty sure that's what that is. It's definitely fresh, whatever it is. You can see where the leaves have been raked up recently. But when we climb down, we'll check it out. Right down this way, down this ridge, there was 4 or 5 scrapes last year. So we'll walk down both directions. There are acorns falling everywhere. So there may be really too many acorns to just try to hunt, acorns, unless you find a specific tree they're feeding under. And I hadn't had time to come over and do any scouting for that. So, we just keep our fingers crossed like always. But at least we're in a tree. This is great. Feels good this morning. It's about 65 degrees. There's a cool north wind blowing, a cold front coming through today, so it's actually very comfortable. Not too many mosquitoes. I do have my thermocell just in case. I kept on hearing leaves moving. I was thinking, is that a snake coming up through there, or a lizard, or what? And here he comes. I guess he's just going to sit down there in the sun for a while now and chill out. Just when you think you have a slow day in the woods, try watching a turtle. It was Saturday afternoon. We spent all day long yesterday in Nashville. Had a real good time. Let Christy buy her a bunch of cool stuff for her birthday. But today,
I've come back over here into the woods, and I'm dropping down into a creek system that I've never hunted before, but I've got several pins in here, some places I wanted to look. So I did load up a camera with some batteries and a fresh SD card. And if we find some sign down here, we'll go ahead and hang this camera and then get in a tree. So I don't know if we'll see anything, but hopefully as the rut gets going and stuff, if there's some old rubs or something in here, maybe we can get some video during this upcoming season of some bucks in here traveling. But anyway, we'll see.
All right, I finally settled on a spot. It's about 2 o'clock. I've been walking for about an hour and a half. We came in probably about a half mile, and there's a couple of logging roads that come together right here on either side of this creek. And it's a little bit of a pinch point kind of between these two hillsides. And there's some rubs on this hill, some old rubs. And then there's also a really fresh rub up there too. And there's a beech tree that has got a scrape under it. Also, there's a couple old scrapes from last year under it, but one of them has been raked out a little bit recently. So what I've done, I got down here below it, almost just in this creek, and I'm hoping that those deer are up here somewhere on one of these points bedded down. Maybe they'll work their way down. I was going to hunt back there with those acorns, right? There was some doe tracks on it, or small tracks anyway, and just nothing significant enough to stop. Plus, I've got a little bit of wind that's blowing this way down this ditch. And between it and that thermal pull, even when that wind stops, I just don't think there's any way that I could have hunted those acorns today without a good wind blowing back up that way. All those tracks were coming from this direction. So where I'm at right now, I think those deer are kind of traveling across and then also heading back down here going that way. So I'm not going to shoot a doe. Now that I found this sign right here, I'm just going to wait on the buck if a buck comes through here. But let me show y'all what we're looking at. See right there, that beech tree right there with that hole in it. There's a scrape right up under those limbs on that tree. That logging road runs right up through there. You see those rubs right there on those two trees? Those are older rubs, but there's a fresh one on that tree right there. I'm not going to be able to see it on the camera right here, but it's this tree that's right there, this little one. And I'm hoping that those deer are coming right down, either coming down that logging road or coming down here and crossing right here below me. I do have some water in this creek, so that's good. Like I said, those acorns are back that way, and I haven't heard any acorns dropping right here. There's a lot of white oaks, but I just haven't heard anything falling. Some of the oak trees are dropping like crazy this year. Some of them aren't dropping at all. So I don't know that there's any food, but there is water, and I know there's food about a quarter mile that way with all the tracks coming from this way. So maybe we're right in the middle right there. They should be bedding up here somewhere, so maybe they'll come by this evening. We'll see. just did that. I heard those deer coming and got my bow and got my phone turned on the camera. And by the time I got the camera turned around, those does were standing right there. And when I hit record, my flash came on. And it was instant, the second that I hit record. That big doe in front just looked straight at me. She never did know what I was, and they couldn't smell me. She was throwing her head up trying to smell me, but she never could. They just kind of went up the hill there and turned and made a big loop. Come back down back here. I can still hear them back in there now, probably feeding on one of those acorn trees I saw on the way in. But they came from exactly where I thought they might. I wish it had been a big old buck, but if it had, I couldn't have shot it because I would have scared the stupid thing off. I'm just glad it happened early and on the first doe that I tried to film this year. Because now every time I turn this thing on, I'm going to be looking at that little circle to see if it's lit up with a flash. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I guess it's about time to start climbing down. Go check on some deer heads. Hey, what's going on, guys? I've come off of the road off down a mountain down in here. I'm almost down to a creek bottom. And right over here, there's a couple of big ridges that come up through here. And there's some drainages come down in here. So I'm going to get kind of down here between them. See if I can't catch deer. Easing down here to feed this evening. I got to find some trees. Hopefully it's dropping some acres. Y'all look at the size of this historical rub right here. That is a really, really gigantic tree. So far I haven't run into any fresh sign. But that right there tells me that mature bucks will use this area. We're definitely on the right track. I haven't gone but about another 20 yards. Oh, look at this right here. Giant tree right there. Tree right there's got a rub on it. This right here is unbelievable. Once again, it's not fresh, but look at this. I mean, that tree right there is huge. I mean, you're talking about 10 to 11 inch diameter tree. I found this line up through here wherever he was traveling. I don't know that he's still alive, but this is definitely a little buck thermal trail right here. I'm going to be marking it. He's definitely coming back in here with a rod. I did finally decide on a tree. I walked a lot of this creek bottom down in here. There's water down in here, thank goodness. So they got plenty to drink, but there's no oak trees at all back that way. The wind is kind of pulling back this direction, back toward the creek. But all of the side that I found was when I was coming down in here. All that I videoed. Every bit of it is in this one little spot right here. There may be some back there. I haven't been back in there yet. But there's white oaks all along this ridge. Now, I haven't seen any acorns. There's been squirrels or something feeding under them because this dirt raked out pretty good. And there are a few squirrels right over here feeding. So I'm hoping that means there are a few acorns that I'm just not seeing. But all that sign is going right along this row of white oaks. So they may not be feeding here this year if there's no acorns. But this is as good as it gets that I found this afternoon. So I had to get somewhere. So we're just going to sit right here till dark and just see if we see anything. I went ahead and made a mock scrape and put a camera up on that rub line. So that'll be something we'll get to come back here and check by February.